Be mindful of walking. So when you're walking out of here, you try just to be aware of walking. So your mind isn't already at home. It isn't already in the shops. If you go into the shops, you know, so often when we're doing things, we're never actually here, are we? Our mind is in the future, or it's in the past, and we're missing what's happening now. Okay, and Ajahn Chah said, if you're not being mindful, then you might as well be dead. To put it bluntly, okay, because we're missing our life. It's just going, it's disappearing. We're always just thinking about the next exciting thing. But we know what happens when we get to that exciting thing. We're thinking about the next exciting thing. Is that true? I'd say it's true. So, and if this happens, then we'll just be continually thinking about the next thing until the day that we die, and we'll have wasted our life. So the Buddha said to be mindful of just what we're doing now. Be mindful of our body. Okay? And when we do this, when we're aware of our body and what we do, then it gives us like it brings stability to our mind. Because when we're not mindful, when we don't have the body to be mindful of, then our mind is like a ship without an anchor. Okay? So if the wind blows, the ship gets blown away. If it blows from the other way, the ship gets blown that way. So the ship is always just getting blown around by the wind. And with our lives as well, then very often we we experience strong emotions, anger and depression, and even, excitement and happiness. And if we're not mindful, then these things just blow us around. We lose control of our life and of our mind. Whereas if we can just be mindful of the body, just aware of it, grounded, then it's like we drop an anchor. We have an anchor, and we stop getting blown around, and our mind remains quite still and calm and stable. Okay? When we're mindful, then we become much less impulsive, and we don't do stupid things so much. Okay? So we should try to develop our mindfulness of our body. I remember when I was before I became a monk, I used to have this little exercise in my house where I lived with my mother and brother, and I'd take the glasses out of the dishwasher and I'd put them on the worktop beneath the cupboard where they belonged, and I'd try to put every glass away without making sound. So very, very careful, just put them next to each other like that without making a sound. And it made me slow down, but it made me very, very mindful, very aware. Now, if someone had asked me, what did you do last night? I'd say, I had a really good evening. I was putting glasses away in the cupboard. And they'd say, I went to watch a film. It was much more interesting than that. But it's not actually, because when we're really, really mindful, it becomes very, very interesting, and we really enjoy it. We really enjoy being aware and present. We really enjoy it, and that's why I did it, because I felt very, very good while I was doing it, but also afterwards. For a long time I felt very grounded and happy. Okay? So it is really important for us to develop mindfulness. So when you're making a cup of tea or folding the towels, don't think that, this is just another thing, I've got to hurry up and do the next thing. Just take your time and try to focus on just that, on what you're doing, and your life will be a lot better if you do that. quality of your life will be a lot better. So the Buddha taught us to be mindful of the body, of what we're doing. And of course he also taught us to be mindful of our breathing. When we can, when we sit, meditate, be mindful of our breathing. Now you can do this at any time. You know, you're sitting waiting for the bus, or you know, you're at university and you're waiting for your lecturer to come in. You know, don't sit there playing with your phone. Just sit and be mindful of your breathing. Then the Buddha taught us to not only to be aware of the body like that, but to understand the body. And when we do that, we understand that the body is made up of lots of different parts, okay? Like hair, teeth, nails, skin. When you pull that back, you have flesh and blood and muscles, and this is the body. This is the nature of the body. And the Buddha said it's very, very important for us to understand that. Hello.
I think it should be working.
The Buddha said it's very important for us to understand the body, so that we don't become too attached to it. Okay? So most of us many people think the body is a very beautiful thing, and we look at people like Brad Pitt and Cheryl Cole and all these very beautiful people and think, oh, they're so beautiful, I wish I was as beautiful as them. But actually, are they really beautiful? You know, if you were to have a bowl of soup and there's a hair in it, and you say, there's a hair in my soup, and the waiter said, but that's Cheryl Cole's hair, or that's Brad Pitt's hair, would you go, ooh, how beautiful? No, we wouldn't, would we? We'd go, ooh, even though it was a very beautiful person's hair. So this whole thing about beauty is not true, it's not real. Really, these bodies they cause a lot of problems, and they're always getting sick, and there's nothing particularly attractive about it. If you were to take your eyeball out and put it there, you think, that's a nice eye. No, you wouldn't. So we need to understand this, because it's important that we don't become too obsessed, certainly, and too attached to the body, because the body is unreliable. We can think of the body as being like a car. You know, when you first have a car, it doesn't cause you many problems. You can drive quite far in it. You don't, you know, it's easy to drive. You can go to lots of places. But you know, as the car gets older, then you start getting more problems with it, and things start going wrong. You have to have a wheel replaced or a new thing in the engine, and then the longer it goes on, then the more it starts breaking down. Okay, and when your car's done over 200,000 miles, then you expect one day soon it's going to break down and it's not going to start again. Okay, and this is the car, and we don't expect anything different, do we? We understand this is what happens to a car, and it's the same with the body. Really, it's just like a car. The longer it goes on, the more goes wrong with it, and then you have to replace things like teeth. You know, they fall out. You have to get dentures and things like that. And one day it breaks down, and then it won't start again, and that's of course death. So the body is just like a car. Beginning, when we're young, we can do quite a lot. As we get older, things start going wrong. Breaks down, okay, no problem. But with the body, we have unrealistic expectations. We want to live forever, we don't want to get old. What does this cause? It causes suffering. People resist aging. We see lots of celebrities getting, what's it called?
Botox.
Huh?
Bottock. Pregnant.
Yeah, you know, plastic surgery. You know, they get things removed and stretched and lifted and all sorts of things. But in the long run, it actually makes them look worse, doesn't it? So, I think I saw a photo not long ago of is it Donatella Versace? Versace, very famous. I saw a photo of her and I thought she looked maybe 70. She's 54. But she had all these things done, you know, to make her smile bigger and all this stuff. And it made her look older. So, there's not much we can do with the body, really. So it's really important that we understand the body. We don't become too attached. We understand that it's changing, it's aging. We can't depend on it, and one day it's going to die. And when we can understand this, then our mind will be at peace. It won't be affected. If we get old, it's my ben I, you know. Never mind. This is the body. It's what it does. So those are just a few ways that we can be mindful of the body. First of all is just to be aware of it, to have that anchor, to helps us to just get more out of our life. And we need to understand the body, that it ages.